Hey everybody, we're doing something a little different today. We wanted to just record a conversation about a game that we've played. So, I'm Jake and Steven's here with me, and
hello.
We finished playing Doki Doki Literature Club on Steam on PC a few days ago. And this is a game that's really important to me, and I wanted to get Steven's perspective on it. So I've finished it a few times already, and this was Steven's first time playing it. So I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you probably already know what the game is, but for those of you who don't know, it's a visual novel game, kind of a dating sim, I guess people would put it, and it has a twist, and we're going to basically go into full spoilers here, or I don't know if we'll talk about every detail, but just assume that we're going to be spoiling everything. So if you want to play it, and I highly recommend that you do, then stop listening. but I mean, right, I don't want to spoil it for something.
Hello, stop listening.
Yeah, well, go play it and then come back and listen. How about that?
Or if you want to,
it's free.
We streamed the game as well.
Yeah,
and
that
video, the full video is available on our YouTube channel. It's posted on our Facebook page, so you can check it out there. And in the article that this is going to be posted in, I'll embed the video too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to play it, but you don't mind watching somebody play it, you can watch the stream. Warning though, it is 6 hours long.
Yeah.
So there's that, but that is an option as well.
Yeah. So this is what's great. The big twist with Doki Doki Literature Club is that it presents itself as though it is just your run-of-the-mill dating sim visual novel, and then it turns out it's actually a psychological horror game. And what a great hook! Like most people know that going in. Like their friends tell them, "Oh, play this. It's fucked up." I wish I had no idea going in, but I did. The first Steam tag that you see is psychological horror, so it's kind of disappointing, but it's still a great game, even if you know that going in. So to start out a discussion, I wanted to just ask Steven what his general thoughts were, because I love this game dearly, and I wanted to know what you thought.
So, first of all, it was my first time streaming a game ever.
Oh, yes.
So that was kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, and that's something that I want to do more. I did go into it knowing that there was a twist and that it got creepy.
Yeah.
But
for a long time I was trying to get you to play the game, and I spilled the beans too. I said, "Oh, it's actually a horror game."
Yeah. Well, my brother also said, when I told him that you wanted me to play the game, he said that he saw a video for it on Creepypasta.
Oh.
And I was
okay.
like, "Oh, interesting."
Yeah.
So that kind of like tipped me off even before you said, "Oh, it's also kind of creepy."
Yeah.
But that's kind of like all that I knew. I didn't know to what extent. I didn't know what it did specifically. So it was kind of cool seeing that play out. My first thought was, it reminded me a lot of Hatoful Boyfriend, the pigeon dating simulator.
Right. You were bringing that up a lot when we were playing it, yeah.
Yeah, it played very similarly to that in the beginning portions. I thought that it was really cool. The twist I thought was really neat. I really enjoyed all of the aspects where they broke the fourth wall, where they referred to me as a player outside of the game. I thought that was brilliant.
And, you know, what's a shame is that you actually missed a good portion of that. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but when you walked into the room with me and I was setting up my monitor and everything, and I turned on my computer, I hit the power button, and then my computer booted up, and I turned to you and I said, "Wait, you didn't just see that, did you?" And you were like, "What?" And I said, "Never mind." What I did was, I changed the name on my computer to your full name. Because Monica, what she does, and this didn't happen in our playthrough, unfortunately, I think it's because we were streaming it, is that the name that you put in the game is what the characters call you, but then the game finds your name on your computer and starts calling you that at the end.
Oh.
Yeah. So my name in my computer, a few weeks ago, I changed it to Steven, your last name, and I was hoping that she would call you that, but I think, and I don't have confirmation on this, I think that the game, since we know that the game knows that you're streaming, you remember the one part?
Yeah.
Doesn't do that if it knows that you're recording or streaming, which is kind of cool.
That makes a lot of sense, too.
Yeah.
See, like, shit like that, that's clever.
Yeah.
That's really clever, and just the fact that it was like, oh, I see you're streaming the game, and the character acknowledges that and says hello to everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
That is freaking cool. And that's something that I don't think I've ever seen anything do that specifically.
Yeah.
So that was really freaking cool.
Yeah. A few things. First off, this is one of 3 games that I can think of that are deliberately deceptive in their advertising. And maybe you can think of another one, because I know you have a lot of experience with more indie games, and AAA games are usually, for obvious reasons, very hesitant to do this kind of thing. The only 2 other games I can think of that do this are Spec Ops: The Line, which is probably the most famous example.
I love that game.
And then there's also Metal Gear Solid 2, which is I mean, you know, more popular than Spec Ops.
Would PT count as well?
I guess sort of. I mean,
that one
no, it doesn't really break.
It does break the fourth wall.
I mean, not fourth wall. I'm talking about games that are advertised as being one thing and end up being another. Now that turns out to be Silent Hills when I think it's its own thing. But
Downloaded, it could have been a glitch in the PlayStation Store, but when I first downloaded PT, they didn't say what it was. They just said, oh, by the way, there's a game you can download for free. It's called PT. Download it now.
Yeah.
And I went to download it, and I looked at the screenshots, and it was a 2D side-scroller beat-em-up.
What the fuck?
And it could have been a total mess-up in the PlayStation Store.
I think I've seen that kind of thing happen with the PlayStation Store before, but also I can see Kojima doing that.
But, yeah, so I was like, interesting, because I had seen people talking about it, but I didn't know what it was. And then when I started it, I first thought it was a live-action video. And then I started playing it, and I'm like, oh, this is real life.
And so, and the reason I bring these games up is because when you take player expectations and you flip them around, it's a great way to teach a lesson that you may not have been able to teach to this audience if you didn't fake them out.
Exactly.
So that is, to me, that is the most important message of Doki Doki Literature Club, and I'll get into that later. But you were talking about how Monica, or I mean, the game does it, but in the logic of the game, Monica looks through your computer to get information about you. That brings me to one theory that I found online, and there's a whole bunch of theories as to what exactly this game means, what the creator, Dan Salvato, intended.
Well, hold on. Before you say the theory, should I go into my thoughts, or?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, like a short summary of what my theory is, and then you say if you had the same idea.
Okay.
And you can go into yours.
Fine.
So, it was the YouTube channel Treesicle, and they have a whole bunch of videos from different people on there about their theories about what the game means. But the one that I kind of didn't really think of while I was playing the game is that Doki Doki Literature Club is a warning about AI, artificial intelligence. And it's that doesn't necessarily mean that that's entirely what the game's about, but maybe it's just one theme within the game. And this is interesting because Monica is a character that becomes self-aware and aware that she's in a game. And then she starts to learn about you, and she can find out if you're streaming, and she can learn your real name. That I thought that was a really interesting theory about the game. Although I don't know if that's exactly what the creator was going for. It seems like those themes are definitely there. And it's an interesting thing to take from the game, but I don't know if that's...
See, I don't think that's the main takeaway.
Yeah.
Mostly because that's really only a thing in the end.
Right, yeah.
And the majority of the game doesn't really talk about that, which I guess is fine. But also, by the end of it, the AI, or Monica, knows that she messed up.
Yes.
She shows remorse, and she fixes it.
So it is strange for that to be the end if that's the message they're going for.
Yeah, I think the idea is that when a machine becomes self-aware, yeah, there's going to be hiccups, and they can make... If artificial intelligence was the main thing, I don't think that is really the main draw, honestly.
Although if that's what you got from the game, then cool. I mean, I think that's probably a message in there that's meant to creep you out with how easily the game just accesses your computer.
But I think that the fact that the artificial intelligence showed remorse and then fixed the problem and made the executive decision to just stop it all.
I mean, that's probably not what Salvato was getting at.
Yeah, in the very least, it shows, like, the more human someone is, the more fallible they are, and the fact that people can still fix mistakes, which brings me to my theory.
Yes, why don't you say yours, and then I'll give my big takeaways from the game.
So, my big takeaway, first of all, before we go any further, I do want to let it be known that I have a major critique for the game.
Okay.
And that major critique is, I don't think the game is fun for the first 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it, like, I honestly, like, if it weren't for me streaming and dedicating myself to finishing the game, I would have stopped playing. And that's what I did with Hatoful Boyfriend.
And you said that while we were playing.
Yeah. And
if I wasn't there telling you, hey, this is really important, this gets really good, this is going somewhere, there's a big payoff.
Honestly, if I were to design that game myself, I would have made the intro take significantly less time. Yeah, I would have focused specifically on the poetry, because that's important, and I would have taken out a lot of the fluff. I think that that's a major flaw in the game, but it also goes along with the red herring they were trying to do.
It's kind of important that it's a little boring before. It's just a little mundane.
I think it's so excessive,
by the numbers, but
like 3 hours for half of a game. At least that was our playthrough. For half of the game, there were no hints. Like, yeah, they were, but only in retrospect. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely a fair critique. I think with us streaming and with us wanting to talk about the game as we went, which, you know, it was our first stream ever, it was more meant as a technical test than it was us to just be entertaining the whole time throughout.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who listened, by the way, though.
So fucking
that was
cool.
really awesome, and more people than we expected ended up watching, and we were able to give away a free game.
Yeah. It was great. It was a great learning experience. But what I mean is, it took a lot longer than it would have if you were just playing. And
yeah,
it still would have taken a long time, and it still would be a valid.
But also,
valid
my attention span would have been significantly lowered.
Yes, I played the game in 2 chunks, and I think in 2 sessions when I originally played it. I think it's best that you play it all in one go. But yeah, even I think. You said that there's fluff in it, and that might be true, but I'm thinking about everything that happens before the twist, and I actually pretty much like everything before that. It's just that there's so much of it that, yeah, maybe it could have been cut down a little bit.
I think it really could have been condensed.
Yes.
But anyways.
Yeah.
That's just my major critique, and I wanted to get that out of there before we got too deep into the theories. But my main theory for the game and its meaning and its main message actually doesn't really have a lot to do with artificial intelligence, and it has more to do with humanity and our ability to ignore bad things.
That's almost exactly what I was going to get at.
Well, like, specifically, throughout the entire game, it starts out small, and then the warnings get larger and larger and larger that there is something wrong, and that people are sad, or that characters are depressed, characters are abused. Depending on who you end up getting closer to, they give more warnings. And in the poetry, it's hinted at. So as you get to know these characters, you, as a character, but also you as a human, kind of become their friend. And while the game is scripted, so your interactions are limited, still you ignore the problems. You don't address them. And there are certain moments where you make a decision and you know that it can have a negative effect. And at least in my instance, I had chosen the one that I knew would make a character sad for selfish reasons. And I think I can't remember the name of her, but the first girl that you see,
Sayori,
yeah, she, I think she like wanted me to visit, or she wanted to come over, and I was like, no, I'm hanging out with this other girl.
Yeah.
I still like the character still invited her to come over, but she was like, no, you know what, no. And you kind of choose to go with her.
You say I love you, or I'll always be.
Yeah,
your...
that and
yeah.
That's the thing. Okay, yeah. You choose basically whether you.
You tell your lover or your friend zoner.
Yeah.
If you're willing to use that term, but whatever, you know what I mean.
And that was kind of a powerful experience, mostly because I could relate.
Yeah, and you were saying that. Yeah.
Which is why I chose the option to friend zone, because I wanted to see how it played out, and it was kind of awful the way that it did play out.
No, this might change your opinion, and it's interesting because a lot of people disagree on this. The same thing happens no matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
She kills herself regardless of what you say, and
that's the thing though. That goes even further into the theory. The idea is that people will hurt, and sometimes you can't help them. Mm-hmm. But the fact that oftentimes we don't try is a big problem. The fact that people aren't having conversations about it. The entire game, people are avoiding the problem. People are changing the subject. People are... the only way that people feel comfortable talking about it, and I know you mentioned it in the stream, the only way that these characters are comfortable talking about their problems is if it's in some abstract, symbolic poetry.
Yeah, and like they don't actually want to talk about it.
Yeah, whenever they're pressed on the issue, they change the subject, or they walk away. Yeah. They excuse themselves from the room, or they get upset. And those are all danger signs that somebody has a mental health problem or that they need help. And to me, it kind of seemed like a commentary on the fact that there aren't really options for that. Yeah. And I think the reason why the target audience was people who play those kinds of games is because, and this could totally be stereotyping, and I admit that, but I feel like a lot of people who play these like social interaction dating sim games are people who lack that in real life.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is a contributing factor to declining mental health. And so they are the ones who most need to talk about this issue. And if you can talk about that issue, quote unquote, with an in-game character under the understanding or the belief that that character knows you as a human, and under the belief that that character is aware, then that could save lives, and that could help people.
I mentioned a few things. I mentioned in our stream that actually it was right after we stopped recording, but I said that I think this game is a harsh critique of visual novels, and I think it's a harsh critique of people who enjoy visual novels. And I think basically exactly what you just said encapsulates that. So if you think about, and I love the Persona games, I love them to death, like my bread and butter, but everything goes right in those games. And yeah, I know there's like dark turns in the story, in the overall story, but if you think about like the social links, most of them, you can just like romance anyone you want, and it doesn't matter how sad they are, it's always going to turn around in the end. And I know that's not true 100% of the time, but like those games are all about feeling like the most socially smart person in the fucking world. And you don't even have to try. You're just so good at it. And then Doki Doki Literature Club, it's like the first half of the game.
You feel like you're playing all your cards right.
Yeah, you feel exactly that way. And you can kind of see, like, even if you're not thinking about it, you can read the poetry from the girls and you'd be like, oh, they got some problems. That, you know, whatever, that just makes them cuter. And then, oh, actually, you fucked up because you did not talk to them like you should have. And yeah, I know by the logic of the game you can't actually fix them.
But it's a story that's trying to tell a specific thing. So
yes,
that's
exactly. So now, don't exit out of the video. Don't exit out of the audio. However we decide to publish this, don't exit out. But one term that was sticking out to me when I was playing this game is toxic masculinity. And the reason for that, don't click away. the reason for that is I was telling Steven that I think this game specifically targets straight men. And something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, even before I played this game, was about how men in particular are socially fucking or emotionally stupid and generally, of course, can't talk to each other about their problems and just aren't emotionally smart at all. In this game, you feel like that socially badass person, and then the game completely turns it all around and shoves these issues in your face, like depression and suicide and Natsuki's issues with her father, and like it makes you feel like, oh my god, if only I could have spoken to them and helped them when I had the chance.
Now I understand where you're coming from, but I do want to point out that the game, as far as I can remember, doesn't gender the main character.
They do, but they do call you a he, but there is a part where they say, hey, I actually don't know if you are a girl or a boy. Monica says that. So it's assuming that you're a man, a straight man at that. And that's another reason I wanted you to play the game. I knew that you would identify with the characters, and that you obviously would feel for them, but like me, like developing feelings for these characters and then having these things happen, it was like really fucking brutal. Like I mean even
as
though
a straight male?
Yes. I mean,
just clarifying.
I mean, just like, you can have empathy for them. Anyone can have empathy for them, but like, me as someone who plays and loves these kind of games and can develop feelings for characters and develop crushes on these characters, and then in the Persona games, it always just turns out great, you know? It doesn't matter how sad they are. You can what's the word I'm looking for? Swoon? You could swoon them every single time. And then in this game, you can't fucking do that. It's impossible. Because you cannot help them with their problems. You can do that in real life.
Well, see, this kind of goes into my theory, but I think that the game basically teaches you to not look for those connections in games. I don't necessarily think. Yeah, it can be skewed more towards straight men, but I think that it's applicable to everyone.
Oh no, but, of course.
But like by the end of the game, Monica, a self-aware character in the game, specifically wants to connect with you because she feels like you are real. She feels like she can't get that connection within the game. Mm-hmm. She craves that connection, and it tears her apart that she's not getting it, which I think Monica is symbolic of the internal struggle of the main character, or not the main character, the player of the game. They need that connection, and so they have to reach into.
That's a really interesting point.
The game. It's almost like it's a mirror, and Monica becomes that is symbolic of the main character. Mm-hmm. And literally, the only way to quote unquote win the game, the only way to beat the game, is delete it. Yeah. You cannot have that game. You have to remove yourself from that, and that to me is a primer for the main character. I keep saying main character, for the player, to seek those connections in the real world.
Absolutely.
It's a sign that says, go out there, have these conversations, because otherwise, it's a big warning, and the warning is, it's unhealthy.
Yes.
It's unhealthy to be seeking these things with characters that are not real. Which I guess could be a warning with artificial intelligence, but I think it's more so a warning towards just like fiction in general, and maybe even like interactive fiction specifically, and how people in the real world lack that human connection.
And the thing is, there is no artificial intelligence in this game. This is a heavily scripted game. You cannot woo scripted characters. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying about winning, to win is to delete the game. The game even says it itself. Monica says it herself. She says there's no happiness to be found in this literature club. You can feel like, oh my god, I'm having such a connection with these fictional characters. Well, no, you're not. There are no choices in this game. You didn't do anything. You're reading a book, and you're saying, oh my god, look, they love me so much. Well, no, they don't, because a million other people had the same thing happen to them when they played this game. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Monica and when she's obsessed with you and she says, I'm deeply in love with you, I really like, and I never thought of it this way, I really like what you said about how that kind of mirrors the player, the player of the reader of visual novels who gets obsessed with these characters. When you're in that screen looking at Monica, who's looking back at you in the classroom, you know what I'm talking about?
It's a mirror.
Yeah, it's a mirror. You're looking at yourself, looking at these girls.
What's interesting is, by the end of it, Monica is painted as a villain.
Yeah.
And you, like, just naturally, the player looks at her and they're like, wow, she's fucked up. But what's interesting is she is basically doing the same thing that you're doing. Looking for connection outside of where you live, and realizing that you need a real human connection, and that it literally does not exist in this digital realm.
Yep.
And while that may or may not be something that I 100% agree with personally, I do mostly agree with it. I want to let that be known. But I think that's kind of what the game is getting at. It's saying, okay, now if you are willing to accept that this character is fucked up and needs help, and that this character needs to find a real connection, then you have to then accept that you are doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And that you need to find real connection.
Exactly.
And the beautiful symbolic gesture is you literally remove the fictional characters from your life. And Monica makes the same decision.
Yes.
Doing the same thing that you're doing. Again, the mirror image. So it's kind of like connecting you and Monica on like a deeply intimate level, ironically. And then it doesn't let you play the game again, because you have to not.
Yes.
It's the whole point.
It deletes the game. The game is inaccessible.
So that's kind of how I feel about it. And I feel like that portion of it, whether I'm right or wrong about the creator's intentions, I think that symbolically is fucking beautiful.
Oh, no,
and it's something that that really resonated with me personally, especially when the stakes are seemingly so high in the game, because it's literally life or death.
Yeah.
And they show it with other characters, but it's really a warning, life or death warning for you as a player. And I think that's really interesting.
I think this is a whole different conversation we could have. You mentioned if you think that's the creator's intent or not. It's a whole other conversation. I won't get into it, but like, I think you're probably right about what your theory is. I think you're probably right about what Dan Savato's intention was, but I think it's also worth mentioning that you can basically pull whatever you want from the game, and you're correct. Like, you're not correct that that's what he intended, but in any story, you can take whatever you want from it, you know? It's a learning experience, and everyone can learn differently.
That's something that I do with everything.
Yes.
Like, What Remains of Edith Finch meant something totally different to me than a lot of other people, and the game Flower fucking saved my life. I'm not expecting Flower to save everyone's life, but that game saved my life because of how I viewed that game. So, yeah, the value of art comes from the viewer, and not necessarily from the creator. However, when critiquing something, it's interesting knowing the creator's intention, because then you can critique it with, okay, how successful were they in getting that message across? I don't know the creator's intention with this game, so I can only speak to my interpretations and what it meant to me, and whether or not his intention was one thing or the other. I think it's interesting that it had an impact on me, and that I think it was a powerful impact. I think it was an important experience. And I think that's why this game, while I know it's kind of like kind of fading out now, I think that's why this game kind of exploded with its online audience, just because it has such a powerful and unexpected impact. And I think that it lends itself well to conversation, and I think that's great, because these are things that, again, people should be talking about.
Yeah.
So if that was the creator's intention, well done. I applaud you. Make the beginning shorter.
Well, you know what's interesting is that the first time I played the game, what stood out to me the most were all the horror elements, like the weird glitchiness that happens, and everything that we were just talking about with the creator's intent and with what the game actually means. It doesn't seem like the glitchiness or the horror elements actually play a whole lot into that. It definitely the horror portion of the game definitely helps to change your perspective, and I was even telling Steven after we finished the game, like when Yuri tells you I think about you and I touch myself, that would be, if the game didn't do a turnaround, that would be the best thing that a character could say to you in a visual novel. But even
playing as a straight male,
right, but
or
even
or gay female,
or gay, sure,
or bisexual,
okay,
individual.
Okay, well, god damn it. Well, but even before the horror elements, at least with Yuri's story, really start to show themselves, when the game does this 180 and after the suicide happens, hearing Yuri say that is such a huge, it
becomes porn.
Well, porn, but you're at least in my experience, I was so not into that. It was almost disturbing. Oh my god, why are you telling me this now? Someone just killed themselves.
Well, yeah,
someone just committed suicide.
It's like somebody masturbating at a funeral.
Yeah.
It's
stop it! What are you doing? Even if you're attractive, stop it.
Well, I think that's why the glitchiness is important, because then again, it's a symbol or a signal to the player to say, hey, this is messed up.
Yeah.
And then when something makes you feel uncomfortable, the next step in thinking, there are two responses. There's the immediately leave, turn it off, or there's the asking why. And I think that this game kind of poises itself in a way where it kind of encourages the player to think a little bit about what's going on, because it starts to feel like a puzzle to solve. And so the question why is popping up. And when you find out that the why, at least with all the glitches, is that there's a character that's desperately trying to get things to go their way within a game, then it becomes clear, I think, again, the connections between the player and Monica, and the idea of how that doesn't really work. It doesn't work, and it doesn't even really work in real life. But specifically trying to get something that is important and personal and intimate from a totally not important, not personal, not intimate setting, and trying to force it is kind of weird.
So they create these impossibly perfect waifus, and then they make you seriously disturbed by them. It makes it so that you cannot be attracted to them in the later half of the game.
Well, unless you have certain obscure sexual interests,
yes.
There's that. But yeah, it makes it so that you feel bad for being attracted to them.
Yes.
Or you feel bad for objectifying them. Or you feel like it is inappropriate for you to jerk off in the funeral.
Yes.
It's the
so to speak.
It's the rewriting of the social rules, I guess. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
It was a nice little turning point.
Yeah. So, and that was something I was thinking about on our playthrough. I was thinking, well, how does all the glitchiness really fit in? I spent some time thinking about it, and yeah, it is just making you you're now totally not connected to these characters on a sexual level anymore, and now you're thinking about, okay, well, what's wrong with them? What's actually wrong with these characters? And it just really helps you to do some reflection. One thing we haven't spoken a lot about yet is the poems themselves, and I know that you were a big fan of the poems.
That was my favorite part of the entire game.
Yeah.
Other than the solution, the conclusion. I mean.
Yeah.
But
there were several poems that really, really resonated with me, especially after you finish the game and you reflect on the characters outside of from a sexual point of view. My favorite one, I think, must be Sayori's about her happy thoughts in bottles. Do you remember that one? Because we read that
she
one.
keeps dropping the bottles.
Well, yes.
Or they shatter on the ground or something.
I should have printed these out ahead of time. I'm sorry, because I wish I could just read them again. But she's talking about how she is storing all of these happy thoughts in bottles, and it causes her to make a lot of friends, and her friends all grab some of those bottles, or she cracks open the bottle and she gives them a happy thought, and she's just spreading her happiness around. But then, and it sounds great, but at the end of the poem, she's talking about how she's running out of happiness, and how there's the end is like, all I hear is echo, echo, echo inside my head, and she's running out of happiness, and her friends keep wanting more happiness, but she can't supply that, and she doesn't know what to do, and she feels trapped. And this is like the first thing that you read from her, and this is fucked up. And I totally read right over it. I was like, oh, that's cute, what a cute poem. No, I should have known right then and there.
Yeah. And I think it has a lot to do with, like, when we see someone, typically we don't want to have these heavy conversations.
Yeah.
We don't want to see the bad side. We don't want to hear just an hour-long rant. And from, like, an individual perspective, we don't want to put that out either. But
yeah.
We are humans with multiple aspects to our personality, and only showcasing one is false.
That's what anime characters are like. They're usually one note kind of, oh, look at me, I'm the cute one.
They're just flat characters.
Yeah.
And that's when we surround ourselves with nothing but flat characters, or at least when our perception of people is a flat character, it's hard to think of them as a human, and it's hard for us to be comfortable with anything that's not that. Not that perfect little thing. And, I mean, in a way, that's kind of a problem with... And this is sort of a tangent, but that's kind of a problem with a lot of media and a lot of things. I mean, hell, even YouTubers or celebrities, we only see the good or the really, really bad. But we only see one side, basically. And we don't think of them as humans. In fact, we're encouraged to dehumanize them and either consider them idols of perfection or as the scummiest pieces of shit on the earth. When really, real, genuine humans are gray. They're more of the minutia. They're a little bit of everything. And we are encouraged, we are conditioned by society and by media, I think, to only show the one side. And that's why, and this is going to get, I guess, kind of personal, but that's why with More Than Friends, this idea of being ourselves, being our gritty, imperfect selves is something that I want to kind of push a little bit. That's why the second article that I ever wrote mentioned my struggles with depression. That's things like that, because I think it's important to have those conversations. And I think that it's important that anyone with an online presence, and we don't have much of a following, but still every little bit counts. Everyone with an online presence, they're partly responsible if they're only putting out the good. And I understand that it's more comfortable for an audience to only hear the good, or to focus on the perfect little bits. But like, people are not perfect, and people have a finite number of happiness bottles.
Yeah.
And with the way that media specifically, but also just society, is conditioning people, I think we are encouraged to spill all of our happiness bottles, and some people just do not have as many as other people.
Yeah. So you cannot know everyone for all of their positives and negatives. You can only know so much about so many people, right? If the way you make a real, genuine connection with someone is to know them for their emotional extremes. I mean, not 100% of the time, not always 100% true, but like, if the fact that I read your thing about struggling with depression, that's if we never spoke about that ever, and I don't know about your emotional extremes, then how am I supposed to actually form a real connection with you?
Exactly.
And the fact that this game is pushing this message and targeting people who like visual novels, characters that are supposed to be two-dimensional, literally and figuratively.
They're supposed to be perfect.
Yes. And then, oops, they're not. Like, that's perfect. This is the perfect way to get this message across.
Exactly.
Is this exact kind of game. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so good.
It's really good. It's really good. When did this game come out?
The very end of last year, end of 2017.
So 2017. So it's relatively new.
And it's free.
I honestly think that it should be considered for Game of the Year 2017.
It was definitely recognized, but not very much in a big way. I mean, I think it came out in maybe November, maybe October. I don't know.
I'm surprised that it
took
didn't
a little
win any
while to get
award
some traction.
For, like, social impact.
It was
honestly.
It was nominated for one of the Game of the Year, the one on TV. I forget what it's called. VGAs. There you go. It was nominated for something on there, like maybe Indie or Steam something. Yeah, but it kind of upset me at the time that it didn't win anything and that there was no discussion about it at the Game Awards, because like that game got its message across better than basically any other game I've ever played. Like just for weeks I was just thinking about what this game meant, and I meant to say this before, I don't know if I actually got it across. The glitchiness and the horror aspects of the game are, when I think back about this game, that's like the last thing I think about. Mm-hmm. And that stuff is great and I love it, but
that's usually the hook. Like,
yes.
if they aren't hooked by the visual novel thing, that's what you tell people to get them to play.
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
how
tell
I
them,
try
hey,
to get
this
you
is
to play.
about depression. Honestly though, if you would have told me that this is an allegory for depression, or
right,
an allegory for you know,
I guess in retrospect that is what I should have told you.
That would have pulled me in a little bit more, but I'm glad that we waited, and I'm glad that we streamed it, and I'm glad that we can record this conversation right now in my car.
Yeah, but in retrospect, yeah, I guess that is what I should have told you. But like, also, I like that you don't know what it's about, and then you figure it out, and then your brain does a 360. You're like, oh god, oh wait, slow down, let me process this, because that's why it's so effective.
See,
that you go in thinking it's this happy-go-lucky thing.
I thought it was gonna be, just because I had started to hear things, I thought it was gonna be, oh okay, someone's gonna die. I thought it was going to be like some murder mystery thing, or it was going to be, I thought like
it's
a character
so much
would
smarter
be,
than that.
I thought a character would be suicidal, but that was like the halfway point. When it started to kind of turn it on myself as a player, I was like, wow, okay, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's when it kind of transcended everything,
yes.
and it became, that was the wow moment, I guess, for me. And that's why, like, if you watch the stream, for a good portion of the stream, I'm talking and I'm like reading the things out loud, and towards the last bit I got silent.
Yes, and that's something I wanted to bring up, because and not to knock on streamers or anything, people are trying to get an online presence and show off their personality. When people stream this game, they're usually streaming it by themselves, and then when the big twist happens, when Sayori kills herself, it's always a big reaction like, oh my god, holy shit, and that's fair, and you can have that reaction, but like the way we reacted,
those are the emotions in a bottle.
Yes. Yeah, right. But the way we reacted was like one of total silence, like, oh shit. As the game kept going into the second act, we were just dead silent. And I know that's not fun to watch, and I'm sorry. But, like, that was our genuine fucking, like, just soaking it all in. Like,
well, because
sitting
any
there
other,
and reading, and oh my god.
Any other response, I feel like, would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of that kind of thing.
I mean, but maybe that is some people's genuine reaction, is like a bombastic sort of, oh, holy shit, oh my fucking god.
Well, it is... This is a side thing, but it is statistically proven that when people are with other people, they tend to exaggerate their emotions.
No, we didn't do that.
Yeah,
we just kind of sat.
We didn't do that. So either we are socially inept, or or we have, I guess, desensitized ourselves to that kind of.
Well, I mean, and also I knew it was coming, and
that is true. That is true.
I knew exactly what was coming, and you were even saying, "Oh, she's gonna kill herself." In fact, you predicted a lot of the shit. Like when Yuri writes about how she's a cutter, although, I didn't
that
realize
was my
that
favorite poem. That was my favorite poem.
And you just said it, oh, she's a cutter. And I was like, that's one way to interpret it.
Well, no, that's the kind of shit that I look for in games, because I'm all about the symbolism.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. and I write poems myself.
Yeah.
And I sneak shit into my poems all the time.
Yeah.
I came out of the closet like 50 times before I came out of the closet by
Before
writing poetry.
anyone knew that you came out of the
and
closet.
my mom would like my statuses where I would post. I post all of my poems on Facebook.
That
She
feels
would like them.
so bad though, because she didn't get it, did she?
No, of course not. But no, it felt good. I felt sneaky, and that's how I feel. What's that character's name? I suck at names.
Yuri Natsuki Sayori. And Natsuki's the short one, Sayori's the one that kills
No,
herself.
who's
Yuri.
the raccoon?
Oh, the
cutter.
Yuri.
Okay. So the way that I felt by writing the poem about being gay and then people not noticing it is probably how I'm sure Yuri felt in this fictional realm. This idea of, oh, thank God I got that off my chest and I don't have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
It's this idea of, I want to tell people, but I don't want them to give me attention. I don't want people to bring this attention to me.
So the question is, and I think this is crucial to the message of the game, is that responsible? Is that responsible or highly irresponsible to write about it in this kind of like, oh, I'm going to talk about it, but no one's actually going to know. It feels good for a while, right? But you're not actually addressing the problem.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I do think it's irresponsible as the writer of the poem or as the person who's kind of beating around the bush, I guess. But it's more irresponsible as the person, if you know, or even if you suspect,
yes,
and you don't say anything,
yes,
if you don't talk to them about it, that's worse because the person who's going through the thing, that's a thing that it's hard for them. It's something that they suffer with. They are a victim.
This is very likely a cry for help.
Exactly. It's a very quiet whisper for help. But it is a cry for help. It shows that they are to some extent wanting to talk about it. They just don't know how. And then for somebody to open up that conversation, which is what the creator does with this game, and I think they do it very well. For somebody to open up that conversation, it's their duty as a human or as a friend. And the fact that, and I know the game doesn't allow us to do this, but the fact that outside of that, in real life, the fact that so many people do that, they just glaze over it. And they're like, oh, I don't care. Or, they feel like it's not worth their time. That's what's really fucked up. That is the problem. And I think that's a problem. I'll even go ahead and say it. I think that's a problem that a lot of us have. I think we're all fucked up in that sense. And I know I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of glazing over when somebody has a problem. And it can be exhausting being on the receiving end, knowing that somebody's going through a problem and not doing fuck all about it. It's a real fucking problem. And that's something that I think that it's important for us to hold one another accountable for. And I'm really glad that this game exists because I feel like it does that. I feel like it says you have a duty as a human to make these connections in the real world. Because by only sticking to this online shit or this only sticking to this fictional shit, you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're doing a disservice to others, and it's hurting people.
That is perfectly well said, the way you just said that, and that is actually what really hit home for me when I played this game, because I mean, I won't go into too much detail here, but this happened right on top of when my father passed away, and I had no idea how to talk to anyone that I know, even the people very closest to me, had no fucking clue. But I'm gonna, drop hints in there, here and there. Oh, by the way, I'm miserable.
Let's go get food.
Yeah, right. But, oh, don't talk to me about it because it makes me uncomfortable. That is exactly what the characters in the game are doing. It's a cry for help, but if you talk to me about it, I'm gonna shrivel up and say, no, that's not what's happening. I'm fine. I'm okay. And that, like I played this game like a week before my dad died, and
Jesus.
that is what hit. Like when he passed away, and I was thinking back about this game, I was like, oh my fucking god, like what amazing timing for me to have. And I'm still not, it's not like I've changed I'm perfectly emotionally stable and communicative with everything. No, I'm still shitty, but like now I have this perspective of, oh, maybe people are talking about this now. Maybe this is something that's going to be changed, So that is what really struck me about this game, and that's why it stuck with me 4 months after I played it. is that message. Exactly everything that you just said.
All right. So sorry if it sounds a little different. We had to move from the car because the star started. The sky started crying very loudly, like sobbing. So we had to go into my room. But
yeah, you were talking about how you think that the lack of emotional communication is a problem in the U.S. specifically.
Yeah, or at least it feels like it because, and I was starting to say I don't want to like demonize a specific group of people, but it's become a thing for us to, like, if somebody starts talking about their feelings, they're called a snowflake. Like, they're called, it's almost like being vulnerable is this disease, and, oh, you shouldn't be vulnerable. Any sign of weakness is a bad thing.
Yeah.
No. That's the fucking problem. And I like that this game tackles that, because again, once these flat characters start to reveal their vulnerabilities,
they become disgusting.
Yeah, they become disgusting, and it kind of calls us out on it in a way, and it kind of makes us realize that we are just as disgusting.
Yeah.
For thinking that, and we have these problems, and we have to again hold ourselves accountable. And it's not just the snowflake thing among friends. People, again, there's a stigma around just talking about your feelings, around being honest. Empathy is considered weakness. Vulnerability.
Yes.
Vulnerability is not weak. Vulnerability is strength. Being comfortable with vulnerability, that's
true strength.
That's
right
bravery.
There, you're right.
Yeah. Just the fact that something like that is considered so negatively, I think, is really fucked up. And I like that this game kind of brings out the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be cheeky with this reference, but that's the difference between merely being a friend and being more than friends. That's the difference between just passively being okay with somebody and loving them. It's accepting them when they are vulnerable. It's helping people. It's having these hard conversations. And yeah, it's freaking difficult. But it's so important because otherwise, like, literally, lives are on the line. And I think that this game does a nice job of representing that. And I want more things to talk about this. I think it's really important. So I can never remember the creator's name. Again, I'm really bad with names.
It's okay. Dan Salvato.
Okay, Dan...
Salvato.
Dan Salvador. He did, I'm assuming he.
Yeah.
Kudos to him. Really important thing there.
And even every time I find out something about this guy, it's just amazing. This guy worked on a Smash Brothers mod, like the most popular Smash Brothers mod, the one that you... the Wii one. I forget what it's called. I don't know if he was like the lead designer, but he worked on that. And here comes this like... Steve and I don't even like Smash Brothers. We think it's a dumb game. But here comes this guy made this mod for this dumb game, making this incredibly powerful piece about emotional communication. And holy shit, like... if that's how the game was advertised, we wouldn't have played it because it's just some dumb Smash Brothers modding guy. Whatever, who cares?
Well, it's interesting too because I feel like the Smash Brothers mod, it was probably something that they made out of like a hobby, out of okay, this is something that I think is fun, this is something that I want, blah blah blah. Doki Doki Literature Club, I feel like that was made out of necessity.
Yes.
I feel like he felt like as many people who can need to hear this message. And I think that also shows that it's free. Like, it's free for a reason. They didn't charge money for this. And yeah, the whole like bait and switch, false advertising, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But they could have gotten away with it. The label is there on Steam, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I think it would have been fine. But the fact that it's free, the fact that it's so accessible to so many people, I think that's important. And I think that shows, or at least it's a sign of the creator's intentions. And the fact that they did such a 180 like going from the Smash Brothers mod to doing this, it shows to me the person's true character, and it shows, okay, this seems like something that they were passionate about and passionate enough about to not feel the need to monetize it.
Yeah.
To want people to have access to it. That's really powerful to me. And that I don't give a single fuck about the Smash Brothers mod, but in terms of this, I think that this is a true sign of his character, and this is, to shake his hand would be an honor.
Yeah. I think the only thing he's actually monetized is like the soundtrack or something like that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a great soundtrack too.
It is. It actually is.
I commented on that. That was the first thing
you said about the game.
Immediately
I love this song.
in the menu. I stayed on the menu just to listen to the soundtrack more.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. Is there anything else you wanted to add? I think
that's it.
Right.
I guess I do want to say, if you haven't played the game and you've listened to this, sorry, we've spoiled it.
It's still worth playing.
Yeah, I still think you should play it, or in the very least, check out our stream. There's also a lot of other streams of it, but check out ours.
Just because.
Just because. So I recommend this game. I actually think it's really awesome.
Favorite game of 2017. That's definitely my favorite game, my most important game of 2017.
I'm going to stick it up there. I don't know... I'm going to make it tied with What Remains of Edith Finch.
How about Nier Automata?
That was second on my list.
Okay.
So that's below. Very close though, and somewhat similar in theme, but I don't want to spoil anything for that. That game is very important though. Also, everyone should play that.
We should
play Doki Doki.
Right? Is that going to be your next thing? Do you want to do something else?
I don't know. I don't want to say we're going to do a thing and not do it. So
true.
We'll see.
And you say they're similar in theme, so maybe let's wait a little while before we touch on that.
Well, Doki Doki and What Remains of Edith Finch I don't think are similar in theme.
I thought that's what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, Nier Automata.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's super spoiler territory.
Oh shit.
But that's also
okay then.
That's also again me interpreting something on my own. But yeah, that Nier Automata is very special.
Okay.
I just really like What Remains of Edith Finch because I thought it was, from a game design perspective, really interesting, and I like how progressive it was with how they presented a specific character. But that's all beside the point. Play Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yes, please play it.
Check out our stream. And if you have played it and you're listening to this, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your interpretation, what you think the game is all about.
Tell us if you agree or disagree with us.
Yeah. And treat each other with love. And actually, fucking listen to people.
Yeah.
If you know anybody who is dropping those subtle hints that they need help, talk to them about it. Don't demonize them. Don't make fun of them. Just openly talk to them, and just be kind, please.
Or go to a therapist.
Or go to a therapist.
And I know that kind of sounds like... That sounds like a lazy response, like, oh, just go talk to a therapist. But no, I mean it genuinely. Like, if you need help and maybe the people around you aren't giving you the help that you need, it doesn't mean they don't love you. Maybe they just don't know how to talk to you about it, and that's okay too. They might be trying, but they just, for whatever reason, they're not equipped to handle it. So, maybe get professional help, or that's probably the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, God, we're trying to end the video, the audio, whatever, the recording. We're ending it right now. Goodbye. I love you.
God, that seems so rushed.
Love you. I love you a lot. Goodbye. Is that not as rushed? Is that better?
I think that's fine. That's fine. See you all later. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Anyone who made it to the end, thank you. You're a hero.
You are a hero.